Welcome to Naked Spirituality, a video blog series of sacred attention therapy and the Center for Human Awakening. My name is Rob Meager. For more information about sacred attention therapy, the Center for Human Awakening, and our video blog series, please visit our website at www.centerforhumanawakening.com. And center is spelled C-E-N-T-E-R. These video blogs support one of the center's core activities, which is collaboration and partnership with individuals, communities, and healing centers, practicing personal growth and spiritual development. Our guest today is Anne Kelly, and we will be talking with Anne about her healing work through Theosophy. And Anne, I'll welcome you to our video blog series. Thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me, Robert.
I'm looking forward to speaking to you about Theosophy. I came across Theosophy about 10 years ago, and I haven't personally explored it, but those people who have come into my life who are exploring it are certainly beautiful, peaceful souls. So I'm looking forward to this opportunity to learn more about it. And I wanted to invite us to begin by asking you, could you share or describe what Theosophy is?
Well, that is a very big question, and it couldn't even be isolated in the words of Theos and Sophia, which is where it comes from. It's far more than that. It is an archaic wisdom that has been underneath all of the world's religions, if you can imagine, since time began. So to start with, what is Theosophy? And I am no spokesperson for it. I am simply a student. I want to clarify that. I am a student of Theosophy. So Theos meaning gods, and Sophia meaning wisdom. Basically, this is the ancient wisdom of the gods. And it's not a religion, but you can see shades of it underneath all of the world's religions. What is really close, you'll see in Buddhism, the Kabbalah, you will see, in Pythagoras, Plato, the philosophers, you will see shades of this come through. And there was a massive upswing at the end of the 1800s with the New Thought movement, and then with the Theosophical Society. And so there's some of the most important writings came through around that time, recent time, but it is ancient.
I understand there is a mystical element or component to Theosophy. Have you witnessed that yourself?
I would have to say that it's what I've always been looking for. You know, I was born Catholic, and I thought it kind of makes sense, but where's the substance? So then I went off, and of course the New Age authors and New Ageism, I thought it's got to be in there somewhere. Where is it? You know, I keep looking. And then I hosted a New Age conference. I was the MC, and I was really crushed to see these teachers, or so I thought they were, respected spiritual teachers, come in full of ego and self. And there was very little compassion. They were more like rock stars. So I was like, where is this? When I came across Theosophy, when I discovered this, I said, how is it possible that this has existed without us knowing about it? So I went and researched and found out more about it. Is it mystical? Yes, in every way. Is it magical? A lot of people come in trying to find the personal magic, the clairvoyance, the clairaudience, the psychometry. There are things there, but there are some wisdom words I'd like to put up front, is that first deserve, then desire. So that is a quote from HPB, which is very important to remember why these latent powers in man, they are there. There is mystic, there is magic, but it must be used wisely. So, and not for personal gain, but for the best interest of everyone.
I understand there's two main branches of Theosophy. One traditional or transcendent Theosophy, and the other Christian Theosophy. Is that correct?
I would say that there are lots of Theosophists, and like the world's religions, you know, we have maybe 4,000 main ones on the planet. Of that, there's 10,000 branches of Christianity of that. They're all spiraling all over the place. So Theosophy coming in with the Theosophical Society, which is the objectives of Theosophy are to create a nucleus of a universal brotherhood without distinction of race, caste, creed, sex, or color. But that does not mean a nucleus of Theosophists, which is a really big thing. A lot of people think that you have to belong to this. So it has morphed and changed, and there are branches that have taken off from that. And it is interesting in human nature, Robert, as you're doing these interviews, you'll find that it will collapse into a hierarchical structure like the old churches. So there are lots of branches. It wouldn't surprise me if there are thousands of them, of Theosophy. So there isn't really one right one. It's whatever's right for you.
Is it possible, Anne, for you to share a few, if that's possible, a few of the core tenets of Theosophy? Are there some core underpinnings or teachings?
Yes. Yes. Have you ever heard of the term omnist? Omnism, which is that there is some truth in all, but not all of the religion. Not one of the religions has all of the truth.
Right.
That's I think it was coined sometime in the 1800s. But omnism is really close to the Theosophical foundation. So a lot of Theosophists tend to worship those that wrote down the books as well. And that may upset a few people, but they're scribes and they are secretaries. They're writing this stuff down. And this has come through for as long as, they say, time immemorial. Is that how you say it? Since the beginning of recorded history. And it can be traced all the way back. You go to Egypt, Greece, and then it's been coming through there. So you could study for lifetimes upon lifetimes. So what are the core, the objectives of what they say the Theosophical Society, but I like to say the objectives of Theosophy, if you will, are, and I don't want to get these wrong. So there are three things. To form a nucleus of the universal brotherhood of humanity without distinction of race, creed, caste, sex, or color. Now, I have to really emphasize that brotherhood has been hijacked, obviously. That word does not, you don't associate that with, it sounds separation and division. It is unity. That nucleus really means heart. So it is within your heart by you affecting those around you, not being a leader in a church or having real estate or wealth or notoriety. It is the kindness and when we say namaste, we say the divine in me recognizes the divine in you, and I see myself in you, and that empathy, that compassion, it's compassion. If I was to go ahead and say, in my experience in studying Theosophy, and all I can find out is that I have so much I need to learn. I know very little. But if you could boil it down to one word, it would be compassion. It would be human compassion, compassion for all beings. But the second objective is to encourage the comparative study of religion, science, and philosophy. So the comparative religion. So when you see, whatever it is, whatever you're growing up with, your family is in this particular church, try to look at what are they talking about? They all kind of say the same things. You look at Lao Tzu and Krishna and Buddha, and you have Christ. They're all saying the same thing. They're saying the same thing. And they are all part of us. And there's a lot of truth in that. So the comparative study of religion and philosophy and science. And the third objective is to investigate the unexplained laws of nature and the powers latent in mankind. Now that would be this magical, mystical, there seems to be a lot of goddesses and gods and gurus. And there are special things that we are able to. We have our sensual world, the five senses. There are other senses, the astral world, ghosts and things. We always have these ghost stories, but there's never an explanation. But if you were to study Theosophy, it explains the astral world. It explains space and time. It explains the planets and the stars. I mean, it literally is limitless. So I can say as a student, I know very, very little, but I can't wait to learn more. And that's what I am doing, this is all a labor of love, is I call it Yogi Theosophy, because Yogi means student to me, or aspirant, and Theosophy are the ancient teachings, not a certain branch. I have studied with branches. I have studied with the Universal Lodge, well, the Universal Lodge of Theosophists online, and also out of London. I took the Theosophical course, which is the diploma course, which is really, it's well done, and I would highly recommend that. Don't stop there. Don't stop there.
And when did you first come across Theosophy, and what attracted you to it?
Okay, remember the search, the always searching. You're always going, okay, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, you've got all these people, these big guys, they're bringing in this ancient wisdom. And, you know, this is before the internet. You've got these wise fellows, there's something there. Where is that? Where did they find that? What is that? So, you know, New Age bookshops, things like that, always looking for it. So one day, and I think it was 2004, I was at the Bodhi Tree in Los Angeles, which is now it's now an online bookstore, but it was it's just there to get incense, really. And I came across this book called the 14 Lessons in Oriental in Yogi. Sorry, the 14 Lessons in Oriental Occultism and Yogi Philosophy. Actually, it's different. I've kind of moved it around. The original title is Yogi Philosophy and Oriental Occultism, but the whole wide world shuts down when they hear the word occult, because it is associated with things that are, well, it's been tainted. The word occult simply means unknown or not known at this time. So my glasses are now in the occult. Now they're not. It's just the unknown at the time. So I picked up this book for some reason, and just I thought it looked interesting, grabbed a couple other books, but every time I opened this book, it seemed to be just really, I was like, that is amazing, I want to read more. So I read it. Who was the writer? Who's the author? The author was a man named William Walker Atkinson, who was a lawyer and an author, and he wrote under the pseudonym Yogi Ramacharaka. And Yogi Ramacharaka is the one who's credited for writing this book. William Walker Atkinson has several other pseudonyms. They are, oh God, Hermes Trismegistus, he's written under that, and oh gosh, Magus Incognito, several other ones. He's written the Kabbalion. These, it seemed to be, I was like, well, then who is Yogi Ramacharaka? Others must be looking for who that is. So in looking and trying to find out who William Walker Atkinson was, and finding out that Yogi Ramacharaka never truly existed, or if he did, there is little to no record of that. I saw that he was associated, in some ways, they were pointing towards a text called Light on the Path, which was written down by a woman named Mabel Collins. And she was a member of the Theosophical Society. And it was mentioned in these teachings, they're pointing towards this tiny little book. It said it was a Theosophical classic. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna follow that lead. So I picked up Light on the Path, and I went, oh my God. It's like you're digging in a mine and you see a little vein of gold. You're like, I'm going to follow that. So I remember looking at my husband that night, and I said, how is it possible, if we were so into, you know, the New Age movement and all this different stuff, how do we never hear about this? How do we not know what Theosophy was? So he went online and he found the diploma course, and I thought, oh, I want to take that, but I want to study what's in this book, this book from William Walker Atkinson, Yogi Ramacharaka. But in the diploma course, they talked about cosmogenesis, anthropogenesis, you know, the formation of the cosmos, man. And I was like, oh, well, it's close. I'll just do it anyway. So I went, and I expected there to be millions of people there. And there weren't. It was a very quiet little, you know, old-fashioned, I'm like, this is brilliant. And I was an absolutely insatiable student. And I wanted to learn more. So after I finished the diploma course, I went on and I found the authors. A lot of people would say that Yogi Ramacharaka, William Walker Atkinson, is neo-theosophy, and they dismissed that. And I wish that I could give that book more credit. It really was the introduction. So what I did was I just thought, I want to be of service. I want other people to be able to find this. So I started voicing the texts as a radio person. I started voicing the text. I didn't know what else to do, so I put them up on the channel. So that kept going, and then I kept studying, and then I shared more. And I go, I can't wait to share more and more and more. So that's what I do. I simply share what I am learning and my experience. I do not own these teachings. They belong to all of us. and solely to no one. And they are ancient and they can be found, and the texts are out there absolutely free. And in the application of them, my life has changed in such an incredible way. I would be completely remiss and irresponsible if I did not share these teachings. So that's why I do Yogi Theosophy. And that's a little bit about how it's a tiny, tiny fragment. There's so much more to say, but I do encourage anyone who is watching. It has changed my life in such an exponential way. And it is absolute heaven. If you study the near-death experiences, you study the out-of-body experiences, you study anything, the answers are there to be found, and there's more where that came from.
Your excitement about Theosophy is crystal clear. And you've shared a little bit about how you've studied Theosophy.
Yeah.
Is there only one way to study Theosophy?
No, there's not only one way. Oh, no.
How might one approach Theosophy?
I would highly recommend, well, online, you can Google the authors, these big authors are scribes, okay? Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. Some people look to her as a spiritual guru. She lived to be only 59 years of age, but she wrote down some absolutely phenomenally important texts, the most important texts of the last 2,000 years. She is not the source. The source came through her. All right, lots of books have come through like that. But I would highly recommend staying with that vein and then applying the studies as you come across them. For example, Light on the Path, The Voice of the Silence. Perhaps start with Studies in the Secret Doctrine, written down by B.P. Wadia. The Secret Doctrine itself is a daunting text. It's a textbook for humanity, but I do believe that you will find it in the Kabbalah, especially if you study ancient Jewish mysticism. You can see that there's this wisdom coming through, and it's so beautiful and so pure. So there are lots of ways to start. And if anybody tells you it's the only way, run and close the door. Don't look behind. It's not going to come from a guru. It's you. It's inside you. And you can find it. And it's you. That divine spark is you. So the answer is you. Don't look outside yourself. It's you.
Is this a teaching, a spiritual practice that one can apply in their daily lives?
Yes.
And if so, how?
Okay. What it would be, for example, we're not able to control anything else except our own actions, reactions, and sometimes our environment. Now, that is very wise. You can hear that, but how do you apply that? How do you become that? It is by becoming what you are learning. It is by becoming them that you see the change in your life. So is it a ritual? No. Is it a ceremony? No. Is it the study and the cerebral academic? No. And that's a big thing. A lot of people want to have a cerebral battle of, I know, I read this book and I read this book, but it's the application. Become the teachings and your life will change. It's absolutely, I say a fact because I keep Yogi Theosophy is only me. So if there's any corruption, it only happens to me. There's no followers, there's no church, there's no nothing. I am a student. I highly recommend that everybody get a chance to experience to see if it works for you. Because I have to say, it is an eternal quest. And I have found something that seems to work wonders and has helped in moments of great pain. Is where wisdom can come through. And it was when I applied that during a time of great physical and emotional trauma, and it's more emotional, but applying these is where I was able to hear it when it was painful. And I have learned things like the wisdom of when things are difficult, we're learning. When things are good, we get to rest. The cycle never stops. Those kind of things. I don't just study and remember the words. I try to apply them. When it's a crap storm, I go, I got to take a look. What am I going to learn from this? And I apply them. And it is only to myself. I can't apply them to anybody else. I can't teach them to anybody else. But I can apply them to myself. And by becoming them, it directly affects my life, the people around me. And I am far, far, far happier. And I feel, I don't know, inspired, hungry for more. I want to learn more. And I want to help. I want to help. So how can I help? I use the voice that I was given. So,
Another way you help, I understand, is through a Facebook page and a YouTube channel dedicated to the teachings of Theosophy. How do you use these mediums to share Theosophy?
Well, this is where I have gotten some grief from fellow Theosophists because they all want to say, well, it's ours, that is the right one. But if anybody says that, you just kind of, use your discernment. My Yogi Theosophy is on, I figured I go, okay, as I'm a trained radio personality, terrestrial radio is dead. The internet has changed our lives. So I need to be able to come into the world and function and speak in today's language. How could I possibly, if I was 20, how could I get that today? I'd be on my phone, and there's the logo, the Theosophical logo. But anyway, I'd be on my phone. I'd be on Facebook. I'd be on Instagram. I'd be on Twitter. So I decided to go ahead and try to, I just share my experience with the teachings. I am no teacher. I am only a student, and I will forever be a student. Anybody who says that they are actually a teacher, that's the thing, is the platform that the teachings are to be taught from are for the teachings, right? Not the teacher. That's an ancient truth. So so Yogi Theosophy, I have it as a little placeholder that I get a chance to share what it is that I'm studying and what I'm learning there. So hopefully whoever comes across it, maybe it will help them as well.
So you can be found on Facebook and on YouTube.
Yep.
But Anne, if people wanted to reach out to you, are there other ways they could do so? Is there an email address or a website?
YogiTheosophy.com is there. You can go to anything Yogi Theosophy will come back this way, and I'm happy to answer questions. I am always here to answer, but only to the best of my ability. And I am very happy to work with whoever if they wish to have questions and point them in the right direction. There are texts out there, and they are free. Do not pay for it. Do not pay anybody any money.
What about an email address, Anne?
Yogi Theosophy at Gmail is good.
Okay. We'll make sure that the email and the website are in the scrolling credits at the end.
Oh, thank you so much, Robert. You are precious. I just really appreciate your time
and your
bright light. You are so sweet. I wish I could kiss.
It was a pleasure to be with you, Anne.
You too, sweetie. You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.